Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, and welcome to Upfront with Waheed Hussain. Today we are going to discuss about terrorism and Balochistan. As you know that for last 2 days, there was an attack by the terrorists on various cities of Balochistan, and the counter, operations by our security forces, including police, paramilitary, army, and other law enforcement agencies, it continues still. The fresh figures are that 177 terrorists have been killed, and still the operation is going on. So I have a very eminent guest with me, Air Marshal retired Amir Mehmood. He's a defense analyst. Thank you very much, sir, for joining me. Kindly tell me that what you see the reasons of such a massive kind of terrorist attacks by the terrorists, supported by the Indians.
Thank you very much, Waheed, and Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Uh, First of all, I would like to say that this is a very tragic sort of incident which has happened recently, and with the grace of Almighty and with the resolve of our security forces, we have been able to prevent a bigger disaster which could have cost many more lives. And it was, I would salute the readiness of our forces and their ability to counter such irregular means of offensive by our enemy. And this shows the professionalism, the resolve, and the capacity and capability of our security forces to handle such unconventional threats. So coming to the reason and the cause, which I personally think that there are many causes which have been happening throughout the world in recent times. The change of the geostrategic positioning, alliances, strategic orientation, etc. With that, I would say that Pakistan being in the center of many things which are happening around the globe. And secondly, it's been, the nexus of India with Israel and few other countries who really don't want any sort of peace in our part of the region. And they have been abetting terrorism since decades. And our prime suspect and prime enemy, India, having faced humiliation in May in a conventional war, and have always been humiliated in conventional means of fighting, have always resorted to such unconventional irregular means of facing the enemy while hiding and abetting other people or mercenaries to fight for their cause, and that too in a very unconventional manner by inflicting cuts and wounds in different ways while the main enemy is hiding itself. And this is only being done by the terrorist. They are abetting terrorists, they are financing them, they are giving them weapons and all sorts of support so as to inflict maximum pain and punishment to us from our Western side. So this is also to say that that India has never been able to fight bravely. They are today using Afghans. They are today using all sorts of terrorist organizations from around the world, which are supporting TTP, which is supporting TTA, which is supporting BLA. And with that, I can also say that they are taking advantage of few disgruntled youth in that area for recruitment. So that is where the problem is, that we have to face this enemy in a very challenging way. The enemy is cunning, and they believe in targeting the civilians, the children, the women, and creating some sort of chaos, instability in our region. The only way I feel that we can counter them is by having the support of the population. So this is where we have to concentrate mainly.
Rightly, you have said that we have seen a different kind of a phenomena this time. Uh, that the women and the young, ladies, they are being recruited by these terrorists, and on the other side they also target the women and the children. So there is no any kind of a political agenda of all these guys. I mean, these terrorists, their only aim is to destabilize Pakistan, especially those areas where Pakistan is inviting foreign investment. We have seen the CPAC projects which are going on in Balochistan, and recent months we have seen that the Americans president, he has expressed and shown his interest in the natural resources of Balochistan and Pakistan. So both the world powers, the financial powers, Americans and the Chinese, they are interested in Pakistan, especially in Balochistan, and that may be one of the reasons that enemy that you were referring, they want to destabilize Pakistan so that Pakistan should not progress financially and economically.
So absolutely, I mean, Balochistan is at the center of a very strategic position. It's a province which is the largest province, having more than 50% of the area of Pakistan. It's got strategic depth for Pakistan. This is the region where you have connections with Afghanistan and Iran both, and similarly, you have very important ports which are touching the Arabian Sea and are very close to Iran and the Oman and Strait of Hormuz. So all this strategic orientation is a blessing in disguise also. So, I mean, we have mineral rich Balochistan, which is having a capacity to generate trillions of dollars. We have Balochistan with CPAC orientation and a connectivity which can connect north to south and east to west very easily, and can be a very good sort of for CPAC as well as for China's connection with Central Asia and towards Europe. So this all gives Balochistan a very important strategic orientation. Having said that, equally important is to have a stability in this region before we can invite foreign investors, before we can have or we can generate funds, and we can have a lot of economic activity going on in Balochistan province. Other than having connectivity, which is again very important for the population to remain connected with the mainland Pakistan and towards the sea and towards the north, the most important thing is to address the grievances of the population, to have them access to the basic health and education, to have them access to justice, and to give them opportunities in all walks of life, to make them the stakeholders in all sorts of investment which is coming to this region, whether it be the CPAC or the minerals. And the main priority is to give security and safety to that population, where you are able to balance between the expectations of the population and the capacity of the state. So this, I think, is pivotal, because this sort of unconventional war or the war against terrorism, terrorists or insurgents cannot be won by technology and training alone, which we have always been winning against India. This type of war needs population. Population support is pivotal, is the key to success, and that can only happen once population sees the government to be legitimate, the government to be their savior, and the government where they are getting all their grievances addressed and expectations being fulfilled. So the population is one thing which the terrorists and the insurgents would like to pull towards themselves. For the government and for the state and for all the security forces, it's very important that you have the population towards your side, for the reason that they don't become the fodder for the enemy. They don't become the
You're right. You're right. You're
recruitment
right,
centers.
sir. You're right, sir. Because I was just listening to the defense minister's statement of statement regarding the recent events that unfolded in Balochistan last 2 days, and still the situation is not that much stable. So the minister was saying that there's a 4 billion rupees oil which is being imported from Afghanistan, rather I mean Iran, smuggled
Iran.
through it, and yeah, of course, and they get it 40 rupees per liter, and they sell at 200 rupees. And he said that, and this is what In one of the press briefing by the DGISPR, he also highlighted this point that there's a nexus, the terror, smuggling nexus, the finances they generate from there, it also goes to the terrorists as well. So 4 billion on the daily basis they generate, and that money is also utilized by these terrorists. So it means that we have to resettle our administrative setup, the bureaucracy and the politician who are involved in Balochistan, and the people who are guarding the borders.
Absolutely. I mean, definitely, the terrorists or the insurgents, they thrive on three things. They thrive on money, which is the finances, which they get through drugs, through maybe through fuel, etc., cartels, which are there. Second thing is the weapons, which they are getting a lot from Indian side, from the Israel side, and this nexus which is there. And the last thing is the recruitment, which they make the local population as the frauders, those who have grievances, those who think that their basic rights are not being addressed by the government, by the governance which is there in Balochistan area, or by the Sardars or whatever you can say that those who are in the power. So these are the three things, the people, guns, and money, which if are available, the terrorists will keep thriving. So we have to cut their finances by having some sort of control over whatever finances are coming to them. We have to cut the weapons which are coming into this area, which is again something a very porous area where we have to have a strict control over that on the borders. And lastly, we have to ensure that we keep the population towards our side. These population or the people who are there, if they're with us, they are the best source of intelligence, because human intelligence is the most important thing in any sort of counter-terrorist or counter-insurgency operations. And if the local population is with you, they will themselves flush out these terrorists, as it happened in Sawat. Sawat is a success example for any sorts of counter-terrorist operation which we have conducted so far. Because the population was able, though we did carry out a very comprehensive military operation against them, both from air and from the ground. But end of the day, it's the population which is sustaining them. As you say that clear, hold, build, and transfer strategy has to be there in counterterrorism operation. So the clear hold is being done by the security forces, but build is the duty of both security as well as the governance or the political forces or the administration which is there. And then they have to transfer the whole control to the civilians who are supposed to take over, the locals who have to take over the charge of their province, of their area. So this clear
Okay, the
hold build
people.
strategy
Okay,
has to be followed.
sorry to interrupt you. Persons like Maring Baloch, she the lady who has been, you know, I mean, developing a different kind of narrative, both on the grounds while protesting various areas in Balochistan, and she also traveled to Islamabad once. And then on the social media, we have seen that the accounts which are being operated from outside Pakistan, they may be from the European countries, or from maybe from India. So how we can counter these fake kind of narratives which are being built, and naturally they pollute the young people's minds, since they don't know the actual reality, and the fake news and misuse of the digital platforms, that also create kind of a problem.
Well, this is very important that the narrative should be same for from everyone. Once you're counting the terrorists and once you're facing an enemy as cunning as India and their cronies who are operating in this side of the border, and we should be one as a nation. The whole of nation approach is instrumental, is very important once you are facing these terrorists, once you are making the opinion, once you are trying to galvanize your all the national resources. So it's very important that there should be a single narrative, and the state should be given that sort of authority, and state should be given that sort of support, that we should have a single narrative. However, I would say that any sort of fake news or fake narrative would be killed if the population themselves have the feeling that their province, their governance is looking after them. So the population support is not only through media, is not only through roads and other things. It is all inclusive approach, which is very important. That population of that area should have the ownership of their resources. The population of that area should be given all sorts of facilities which are being enjoyed by the center or by anywhere else in Pakistan. Unfortunately, Balochistan province had been marginalized. But similarly, it's important that those who have been responsible previously should also take that responsibility. And it should be a whole nation approach that let the bygone be bygone and let's move forward. I mean, I can hear some ex-chief minister also talking and giving statements against, the province or against the state or whatever. These have to be taken very responsibly.
But the issue with these politicians is that when they are in power, they are in line with the federal government and the Islamabad. But once they are out of the power, once they are in opposition, so naturally, their narrative is a kind of a narrative. Of course, you have to, oppose the government policies. You must criticize them, but then they start blackmailing the state by giving such statements where they give a kind of impression to the people of Balochistan and rest of Pakistan and the world that they are being deprived from for decades and for years.
Yeah, but I think all such sort of fake news or all sorts of narrative which are counter can fail. Again, I would say if a person who is in Balochistan, a Balochi, feels secure from within, and he feels secure as far as his life is concerned, as far as his job security is concerned, as far as his food security is concerned, if all sorts of basic needs and basic expectations of the population is addressed, then I would say that all terrorist financing, terrorist abetment, terrorist narrative would fail. The most important thing is, whenever you are facing such an enemy, you have to take hold of the population who will themselves flush out these terrorists. So while it is very counterproductive for any politician to give such irresponsible statements at that point in time, once the terrorists are most active, which we can see nowadays, there had been a remarkable increase, I would say, which is very dangerous for the country, for the Balochi, and for our province. That they are coming in such an organized manner that they are regrouped and they are striking at so many different locations simultaneously. So that really gives them the impunity and the liberty to them to point, to strike at will and to strike at their point and time of choosing, which is, I personally feel, being a operator or being a practitioner of the counter-terrorist operations and having done some sorts of qualification on this particular subject also, that is not a good sign, is not a good symbol. And the only solution for that is that, other than force, to give a message to these terrorists that you cannot hide and you cannot run. That is, we have always succeeded in that. We have always been done it very surgically in a very informed manner. Our forces have always shown that resolve and always reacted very as they did this time also. But an enduring peace is only possible if the population is towards you, and population is not at all accepting terrorists on their home ground, on their surface. They will flush out the terrorists and they will clean their place themselves. As I said, and I have repeatedly said, that Sawat is one important case in point, and where we have enduring peace till today. It's very important that the governance has to be sorted out, that we have to put our house in order as far as the Balochistan province is concerned, and the population support will give those dividends or those results which we may not be able to derive out of the use of force only. It has to be a combination of these factors which will ensure, inshallah, enduring peace. in the coming days. Our government has the resolve, our security forces have resolved, and inshallah ta'ala, Balochistan will become a hub of economic activities, and there will be peace and prosperity in the days to come.
Thank you very much, Marshal Amir Mehmood, for your precious time and a very precious, opinion and the suggestions that you have given vis-a-vis, the terrorism which is going on inside overall in two provinces, KP as well as Balochistan, and it is a challenge for Pakistan peace and security. Thank you very much, sir. Thank you for your time.
Thank you.